Welcome back to AM Northwest. You know, if you lose your job, a short-term side hustle can keep cash flowing and your confidence high while you search for the right role. Here to share 4 tips to keep earning if you get laid off, we welcome back strategic advisor and executive coach, Dr. Carol Parker Walsh. Good to see you
Good
again.
To see you too.
Okay, so you're saying don't panic if you lose your job. There's other things you can do.
Absolutely. You know, because I'm always an advocate of not trying to jump out of the frying pan into the fire, right?
Yeah.
So if you get laid off, it's a perfect opportunity to spend a little bit of time figuring out what your next step is going to be.
Right.
But oftentimes people panic because they're like, I need the income. So they go into another position that they're not ready for. So I suggest you utilize your skills and figure out how you can maybe make some extra money while you're waiting to go after that next thing that you want to do.
Also, too, if you have a job and you think something's going to happen, you're
Oh,
concerned
absolutely.
about the economy or whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know so many people right now that have side hustles because they're not sure if their company has been laying off for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or they're moving close to retirement, or they've been in a position for a long time and they just want to have something else to do that makes them feel more exciting, or they're utilizing skills that they haven't been able to utilize before.
One of your tips is to say, do a 10-minute skill sweep.
Yeah, so the first thing you want to do if you want to go after a side hustle is figure out what are my marketable skills.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they could be the things that you're doing in your job, but they may be other things that really are underutilized in your job. For example, maybe you're the one that always plans the company party.
Right.
And that could really lean itself to doing some event planning, you know, planning birthdays or weddings or anniversary parties or things of that nature. So look at the skills that you have, whether they're being utilized or underutilized in your job, and then ask yourself, which of these skills would I like to do, and which would either save time for someone or make someone money or get them out of a mess or a situation that they're in. And then that way you know that that's going to be something that people will pay for in terms of a side hustle.
Oh, good idea. You also say craft a flat fee summer project offer for a small business owner.
Yes, small businesses and sometimes mid-sized businesses are at a revenue cap, so they're not hiring or they can't hire other people, but they would love the support if you want to give it, you know, some of your services to them on a project by project basis. So if, for example, as I said, if you do event planning, you can maybe plan small events for the small business if they're having a summer customer appreciation event or something of that nature. Or if you're really good at systems, you can have something like a back office cleanup special where you're going to come in and help to automate their systems and you know, get things together. Or if you're in social media or marketing, you can offer them a package where you're going to do a social media refresh, where you can just get all of their social media together for them for the summer. So if they're posting on social media or they need to write newsletters or things of that nature, if you have that talent and skills, you can create these mini packages and offer them to small businesses and let them know on a project basis. We could do it for $1,500 or $2,500. You make money, they get a service, and you have something that's not going to take all of your time while you're still possibly looking for something else.
I have a friend who's really good at organizational stuff, and she was just hired just to organize the office because apparently employees are very unorganized.
Exactly.
You should see our office. But yeah.
That is a great,
it's
totally. And if you're the one in the office that's always doing the organizing, even though that may not be your job, that's a great thing that you can offer as a side hustle.
Right. You say to hang out your own shingle.
Yeah. So for example, if you're doing these kind of side hustles and you realize, oh, I actually would like to make this a full-time job as opposed to just something I'm doing temporarily, then you want to really think about, am what I'm offering marketable? And if you've created these little packages, this is a great way to test, and they are flying off the shelf like hotcakes. People are saying, yes, we want you to come organize our space, or we want you to plan these events, then that may be a marketable business that you can actually start. But you want to first figure out what does the market want to make sure that you're just not doing something that you think is great, but something that's really needed in the market.
That's one of the keys.
Exactly.
Is it really needed?
Is it really needed? But the other thing too is make sure you want to do it. So it may be okay for you to do some organizing here and there, but if you decide to do it as a full-time job, you may get tired of people complaining about the way you're organizing. I knew someone who loved baking and thought maybe she wanted to start a baking business, but when she realized that she didn't want to deal with customers who were upset about the wrong shade of purple that she put on the cupcakes or whatever, she was like, no, I think I'll do it as a hobby. So make sure you really want to do it.
Volunteer or become an adult intern if money isn't critical in the moment.
Yes, so if money isn't an option and you really are wanting to take this time to figure out what's next for you, a great thing to do is to volunteer or do an adult internship. It's the same concept. People people love people who take initiative and to volunteer.
Absolutely.
And if you have a marketable service, you can go to a company maybe that you've been wanting to get into, or an industry that you wanted to break into, and offer your services. They may have an open position that they can't fill right now, and maybe you can volunteer to do some of that work. But make sure you're going to have resume credit, and make sure that this is going to be something that you can utilize to your advantage if you are looking for another job. But the beautiful thing about interning or volunteering in an organization, I'm sure you'll have to sign some NDAs and confidentiality agreements if you're doing on a volunteer basis. But if a position does open, you're going to be the first one
They'll
to think about,
because they already know you.
Because they know you, they know your work ethic, you've taken the initiative. And you can also offer an opportunity to do some work on something that maybe they don't have a position around, because you see a need for them that they haven't seen for themselves or been able to create. You can offer that for them, and again, they'll see that initiative, and when something does open up, you'll be the first one they think about.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Carol. All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away. Great job, Mia.